Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines the word underrated as rated or valued too low. Today, Sports Illustrated took a stab at naming the most underrated player for each NFC team. Saw this, was like, all right, let's see what you got for the New Orleans Saints. Because you have options. As much as we crack on the Saints roster, and we do, they're old, aging veterans, however you want to say it, lack of production falling off. The Saints have a lot of players on their team that you could term underrated, that you could label underrated. Rashid Shaheed, we've had that conversation already, that he might be your breakout guy, heading into 2024 in the receiving core. Jordan Howden, had to like what you saw from him at safety, right? This past year, filling in. Marcus May's hurt, and send Jordan Howden out there as rookie. Does well. They're high on him going forward. That sounds like he could be rated or valued too low. Small sample size, I get it. Paulson Adebo, would he count? Yeah. As long as you have Marshawn Lattimore, he's not your number one. There's a lot of guys. Carl Granderson. When you look in terms of production over the last 2 years, but where he falls in the edge rushing pecking order in the NFL, specifically the NFC, yeah, you could throw him in there. It wasn't any of them. Wasn't Adebo, wasn't Howden, wasn't Shaheed, wasn't Granderson, wasn't anybody that you could think of that might fall in there. Nope. Sports Illustrated labeled the Saints' most underrated player as Derek Carr. And I just vehemently disagree with that. Let me say this first. Derek Carr can have a really good season in 2024. That is possible. We had this talk not long ago when I filled in for Matt about cautious optimism with Derek Carr going into 2024. He's had an incredible camp. We've heard all about how this offense fits him, the play action, the motions, how he fits into the Shanahan style offense so well. And sure, he could have a good year. Look what other quarterbacks, Brock Purdy's succeeded in this offense. Jimmy Garoppolo succeeded in this offense at a high level, and it translated into team success. That could absolutely happen for Derek Carr. Sure, I'm not saying that it couldn't. I'm not saying that it won't. Maybe it does. What I am saying is to label him as underrated is ridiculous. It's not even controversial, I don't think. I think it's ridiculous. When you look at how to actually define that word, it does not fit Derek Carr. It fits others on this team way more. And we went through some of those guys. When you look at the write-up, one of the things mentioned in the write-up on Carr is, I know opinions across the league on Carr are scattered, but it's important to note that a down year for Derek Carr still means 25 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. No, it doesn't. That's just Derek Carr's year. Go look at his 10-year career. His high watermark is 32 passing touchdowns. His low is 19. 25 is almost damn near literally right in the middle. His last 3 seasons, 25, 24, 23. To term it underrated is ridiculous. When there were just so much better options. Take a guy like Rashid Shaheed. who, I mean, the very first time Rashid Shaheed ever touched a football in the NFL, he housed it. The first 2 times Rashid Shaheed ever touched a football in the NFL, he housed it. It's like, who the hell is this guy? Why aren't you giving him the ball more? Maybe you should. Last year, goes for over 700 yards, really emerges as a deep threat. You're fired up to see what that guy can do now as the true number 2 without Michael Thomas or anybody else in his way. It's Shaheed Olave. Yeah, that guy's underrated for his giant playmaking ability and what he potentially could be combined. The thing that keeps Carr from being underrated is you know what he is after 10 years, and it's 25 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. And that's not a bad thing. Like, that's not a bad year. But he is what he is. How many more times do we all have to have that conversation? Like, if you just want to, I equated it to Rashid Shaheed for the Saints' perspective of being underrated. If you want to actually find an underrated quarterback, one that I would tell you Jared Goff is actually an underrated quarterback. And here's why. Because Jared Goff, when he burst onto the scene in Sean McVay's offense, looked like, I mean, it was him and Mahomes, right? They were the future of the league at quarterback. And then you see Goff's production dip to the, not even, the guy still threw for like 3,600 yards. He just went the 4,600 prior. And you see him be shipped off, traded, because the Rams felt they couldn't get over the hump and win a Super Bowl with him. He took them to a Super Bowl, which was crap, and we all know why it was crap, but he took them to a Super Bowl, lost, is shipped off, looked at as damaged goods in a sense, right? All he's done since then is revitalize a tortured franchise, take them to the NFC Championship, throw for over 4,400 yards the last 2 seasons, go to yet another Pro Bowl, and arguably, not even really arguably, Pro Football Focus noted in a number of different areas, he had career highs in 2023. That's what I would call underrated. Because when you look at it, he's a wildly efficient guy who's termed system quarterback. And he's regularly ranked 13th, 14th in the league. In all these power rankings or whatnot, even though he's having great success on the field in efficiency and production-wise. I was looking at a power ranking list earlier, kind of researching this a little more. Goff was behind Tua. Goff was behind Jordan Love. Like, I can make a case that you'd rather have Jared Goff over both of those guys. Goff was behind Trevor Lawrence. Like, you can make the argument. If I asked most Saints fans right now, who would you rather have, Jared Goff or Derek Carr? You know what the answer would be. That's what I actually look at when I think underrated. A guy who's been in the league a long time, and Jared Goff's been in the league 8 years, just 2 less years than Derek Carr. From a quarterback perspective, we've established what it is from a Saints perspective. From a quarterback perspective, a guy who went to 2 different franchises, took one of them to a Super Bowl, another one a win away, was traded away because they thought he couldn't hack it, and just revitalized himself and proved that he could. Proved he could do it in a different system. For a guy who's tabbed system and structure quarterback to do it in a completely different one, pretty impressive. At a different spot in a whole different situation. And that's not just who Derek Carr is. And again, it's not to say he can't have a great 2024. It's not to say that he can't thrive in this offense and the Saints can't go on a run that many of us don't foresee. Of course he can. But he's not underrated. And even if he does that, that doesn't change the fact that he's not underrated. And that's okay too. That's okay too. Cautious optimism. He's had a great camp. New offense. It fits him. Let's see how much. We'll get our answer here shortly. Saints report to camp later this month. Before you know it, they'll be playing preseason and then regular season football down there in the Dome and all over the country in the NFL.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.